Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Attractions Group podcast. This is episode 104. I'm Ryan Sir, along with Don Helbig. Don, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Ryan. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well. You just got back from a trip to New York City.
I did. What an adventure. Started out last week, got there on Thursday, got to see the Yankees play ball at Yankee Stadium. That was always on my bucket list to do that. Went to iconic Coney Island, rode the Coney Island Cyclone. Absolutely loved that ride. Got to experience Dino's Wonder Wheel, a
Mm,
couple of spins on that. That was a lot of fun, just the history that's involved with that. Nathan's hot dogs. Did you go to Coney Island if you don't eat Nathan's hot dogs, right? So did that. Some Broadway, plays. It was fun just to kind of. We stayed in Times Square at our hotel, so just to be able to meander around Times Square. Sometimes it was easy to kind of get lost because all the streets, a lot of them look the same. But I had a great time. Coming back was an adventure. Our plane was supposed to leave around 6:30 on Sunday night, but because of weather, all flights were canceled through Tuesday. So we weren't going to be able to fly out until Tuesday. Well, that wasn't going to work because my daughter and her husband, school teachers, they both started back to school on Tuesday. So that left us with the option of drive. So we went to get a rental car because of what was happening. They all were selling out very quick. The only ones that had a car left were Avis. So we had to go to the Kennedy Airport to pick up the car at Avis. But when we got there, we had a reservation and everything, but it was still almost a 3-hour line just to get the car. So by now it's already
wow.
6:15 before we're even able to leave the airport and make the trek back home. So it was about 10 hours to drive back home. I'm used to that, just traveling around driving, even going back to my hockey days, being on the bus, 10, 12-hour trips, no big deal. But, it wasn't the ideal way to get back, but, it was all part of the experience.
Sounds like you had a wonderful time.
I did. I did. I'm going to go back again next. I loved it. It was fun.
Yeah, just avoid the storms next time. All right. Well, before we get into this week's guest, and we do have a very good guest this week, just a reminder that you can follow us on your favorite podcast apps: Apple, Google, Spotify. You know the drill. Also, we're available for a video podcast on YouTube by searching for the Attractions Group podcast and smashing that subscribe button. So, this week, we welcome back to the show, let's say an early I don't want to say legend because she's younger than me and I don't want to date myself, but uh Leah Cook Bloomhart is a fourth generation owner and director of communications at Holiday World. You might have heard her name before. So Leah, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be back.
So since the last time we've had you on the show, your family's a little bit bigger. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so the last time we spoke, I was about 8 months pregnant, and yeah, now it's been our little girl Eleanor is 5 months and going on 6 months real quick. So time flies.
Yeah, 13 going on 30, right?
Yep.
Got on a coaster yet?
Not on a coaster. She's ridden the train and the carousel. That's all she can do right now, but we're loving it.
Awesome.
All right. Leah, Holiday World and Splash and Safari recently celebrated its 78th birthday. You got to celebrate a legacy of wonderful family memories, with something previous generations. I mean, they couldn't have imagined what Holiday World would be like today, right? So talk a little bit about turning 78 and just kind of, what that meant for you.
I mean, it's a huge responsibility and a wonderful legacy that we have with Holiday World and Splash and Safari. My great grandfather started it in 1946, and like you said, we got to celebrate this year with a drone show. We had a birthday cake, and we celebrated with the audience singing "Happy Birthday." And it's just cool to think that celebrating with a drone show is really truly something that the original generations couldn't have imagined. And just the way that the park has grown, I think they would be very impressed and very proud of what we've done here.
Yeah. So, Leah, why don't you walk us through kind of the evolution of Holiday World, because it wasn't always about all holidays. It was kind of pigeonholed into one holiday originally, right?
Yeah. So my great grandfather, Louis J. Cook, came to Santa Claus, Indiana, in the 1930s, and he was disappointed that there wasn't anywhere that really had a Santa Claus or anywhere you could meet Santa Claus. So he was inspired, and as part of a retirement project, he opened Santa Claus Land. When it opened, it was kind of just a small little roadside attraction, but truly it grew quickly. So my grandfather, Bill Cook, went off to fight in World War II. He was actually an engineer. He helped repair ships in Pearl Harbor. He came back from the war, and he was looking for a place in his family business and settled into Santa Claus Land. And he really built up the town of Santa Claus. So if you see the shopping center, if you drive past Christmas Lake Village, where a lot of our full time people live, you'll see a lot of the stuff that's around Santa Claus, Indiana. Had a my grandpa really built, and I don't know, it's amazing to think about. But my grandpa also had the vision that maybe Christmas was a little bit limiting, so he decided that we were going to become Holiday World. So in the late 70s, he started advertising Santa Claus Land. It's a holiday world of fun. And in 1984, we made the switch. We added the Halloween and 4th of July sections and started celebrating more holidays than just Christmas. Um, yeah, so after that, eventually my dad took over in 1993. My dad added Splash and Safari, which of course has now grown to become a monstrous success. And in 2006, of course, we added the Thanksgiving section. So that's kind of the history of how Holiday World has become what it is.
And now there's a book out there that I want to get. It's Holiday World Splash and Safari, 75 Years of America's First Theme Park. That's important to note. You are the first theme park in America. Everyone thinks
Yep.
Disneyland, but no, it was you guys. But talk
Yep.
about the book and where I can purchase this, as I've heard about it, but now I got to get it.
Yeah, so we worked with the IAPA historian, Jim Futrell. He did an amazing job. He helped us pull in other historians from the industry. So we got Dave Honor and Ron Gustafson, and our leader of the Santa Claus Museum and Village around the corner from Holiday World at the time helped us write, and I wrote the chapter on our recent history. So it was kind of a team effort, and we all worked on different parts of it, really because we pulled this together, and we didn't realize my husband was the one who had the idea to pull this book together, and we quickly realized that in order to make that happen for our 75th, we need to get moving fast. So we kind of broke it up into pieces and all worked on it. But truly, the product of it is amazing, and I learned things from it all the time. So I'm very proud of the work that we did on that, and highly recommend that everybody check it out. It's online at our Holla shop, or of course at any of our gift shops.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I meant to grab it and I didn't. I totally have regrets about that. So yeah, so I want to leave this up there so people can know the cover of the book. But Holiday World and Splash and Safari, 75 Years of America's First Theme Park. So it's available,
Yeah.
but in the park. I've seen it in the park, and you said it's available on the Holla shop as well.
Yep, if you go to holidayworld.com, I believe it's in the upper right corner, you'll see a button for the Holla shop, and it'll take you there, and you can browse some of our merchandise, including our 75 years book.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out
Yeah.
too. So one of the more fun stories, and you and Don had some fun with this several months ago, and it seems like it hasn't gone anywhere. But Good Gravy. So you guys took a pretty good risk on that with the name and the theme and so on. It kind of tells its own story. But here we are. It's been open for several months. How did it turn out?
Our guests love Good Gravy, so it's been amazing to hear everybody's feedback, and it's even more exciting to hear. We love to hear the guest feedback, but the enthusiasts are always a little bit more opinionated, so it's more fun to hear from them that we've gotten a lot of love. But yeah, I mean, it's just we poured a lot of heart into this project, especially. So to hear the guest feedback be so positive, it warms our hearts and inspires us for the future.
And every time I ride Good Gravy, I discover something I didn't see before. I'm going through the queue. I mean, the theming, I mean, we talked about this before, but it's incredible. Something you'd expect to see at Universal or Disney. I'm not the only one that says that. I see that out there a lot too. So to hear guests put it on that level, I mean, that has to make you and your team feel really good that you're being compared to those two giants.
Yeah, it truly is humbling to hear. Again, it's kind of something that our entire team really poured our hearts and souls into. But I especially want to shout out that our IT team really got involved. So if you see the TV in the living room, they work together with our safety director and different people who have just all these different skills outside of work. And they came together and built this antique looking TV, but it's a modern TV built in a 1960s housing. And just all those little bits and details. Our marketing team, our IT team, people were all over the internet, going to thrift shops, scouring for gravy boats, trophies, you name it. So we really appreciate that, but I really want to give credit to our team who did just an amazing job pulling everything together, making sure no detail was missed.
So, Leah, one of the reasons why you're here is that we want to talk about how you guys have some extended hours this season. So, the way that I want to kind of come at this is, it seems like a lot of parks and a lot of chains have been cutting hours this season. You guys are extending hours this season. What led to that decision?
Yeah, so the days that we've added back in August, I say added back, so they used to be a part of our calendar, and kind of during COVID and after COVID, we pared those back because staffing just wasn't where we wanted it to be. We've made a very concerted effort to make sure that our staffing is strong and we can deliver an excellent guest experience. So we're seeing the results of that now. So we're looking at August 4th was going to be the end of our daily operations, and we realized that we had so much staff sitting around that we were going to need to find something for them to do. So we thought, why not go ahead and open for the days that we used to be open? So we're open right now, daily through August 13th now, and we're very proud to be able to be one of very few parks that are adding hours. I don't know if I've heard of any this year, but I probably don't know every park.
Yeah, I know I was excited about it when I heard there was going to be more opportunity to come visit, but what has the response been from guests regarding the extended hours, the extra days?
We especially here, so Illinois schools have a different school start date than the rest of us. And I actually just had some friends of mine come down from Bloomington, Indiana, because they were like, we know that Indy schools go back the first week or the last week of July. So we knew that this week would be a perfect week to come. It's generally a more laid back week, attendance wise. And so it's just kind of a nice way for us to kind of slowly exit the daily operations and get to leave on just a great note and have a ton of fun with our team members are having a great time as well.
Yeah. Well, I guess having too much staff. So what are we going to do? Let's open for the week. That sounds
Yeah,
like a problem to have.
exactly. Yeah.
Tell us about Friday Night Live.
Yeah, so Friday Night Live is our newest event. It's going to be Fridays, August 16th, 23rd, and 30th. So we will be open from 5 to 10 p.m. It's just Holiday World, pretty minimal on the kids' rides. The focus really is for adults and families with older kids. We're going to have live bands playing we've got some bluegrass music and some cover bands. So there's going to be the first night's going to be 80s night, the second night's going to be 90s night, and the last night's going to be the aughts night. So maybe a little boy band in there too. I hope so. We're just going to have a lot of fun with this. And yeah, Splash and Safari will be closed, but it's going to be a ton of fun. We already got a lot of people in our community that are planning date night right now. So it's exactly what we want to see.
Now, it seems to me, just listening to your podcast and just, observing things when I've been at the park, but, you and your team, everybody seems to, collaborate, just have a great time, come up with all these ideas and, being quirky and all that. But so how did you come up with the idea, for an event like Friday Night Live? Was it just something you're just sitting around a table and somebody just throws it out there and, hey, yeah, that sounds good, let's do it?
Yeah, sorry, I've got a dog that wants to be a part of the podcast right now. No, so we definitely have a very collaborative team, and we've kind of thought about Friday nights before. We see that other parks kind of have more of an extended weekend than we do, and we've always just kind of dismissed that as we have a very very strong football program here. I don't know if anybody's heard of an athlete named Jay Cutler. He's from Santa Claus, Indiana. And so
Jay Cutler, he cost me my fantasy league one year.
I'm sorry about that. But so he's from Santa Claus. So we've always had a strong football program, and a lot of people who love football in this, like high school football in this area. So we've always just said, oh, that probably won't work. So this year, though, we all kind of sat around and looked at each other and said, why not try it? You know, not everybody goes to a football game on Friday night, and I bet you there are a lot of people who are looking for something fun and different, a different way to experience Holiday World. So this is a great product, and I didn't even mention the best part of this is that the ticket price for that 5 to 10 p.m. is $30 at the front gate, $25 if you buy online. So it's a great deal.
Yeah, it's a heck of a value. Now, tell me why Holiday World's the place to be on National Roller Coaster Day, which is what, August 16th?
August 16th. So normally we don't get to be open on August 16th for National Roller Coaster Day, just because we're done with our daily operations. And so getting it to fall on a weekend is difficult. So we decided that because we actually get to be open thanks to this new event, we were going to celebrate in style. So we'll be turning off our trims on the voyage. So that means that there will be some slightly faster night rides between 8 and 10 p.m. We're super excited to be able to share that. And this is a special thing. Normally, we only share that with our enthusiasts for our Hollywood Nights event, but that's an attendance capped event. So this is definitely a way for enthusiasts to experience trimless voyage without having to stress out about making the cut.
Now, running the voyage trimless, again, 8 to 10 p.m. on National Roller Coaster Day, very much a special occasion. And then I can say, as good as the voyage is, the ride experience is elevated to a whole new level when the trims are dropped. So talk about why this would be a can't miss opportunity, like just that difference it makes. It's already, just relentless as is, but then it just gets
Yeah.
elevated to a whole new level there.
Yeah. I mean, night rides on all of our wooden coasters on all of our coasters in general, but our wooden coasters especially are just something out of this world. I feel like because we're out here in the country, there's just not as much light pollution. And so these night rides are truly intense. And if you don't know the coaster well, you have no idea where you are. I've been on many a ride on the voyage, especially where I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. I've ridden that coaster hundreds, if not thousands of times, and I still sometimes get lost in the middle of dark rides on the voyage. But then you turn the trims off, and the trims come in right before the triple down. And sorry, I'm going full nerd. And so that triple down, when you don't have the trims breaking ahead of it, is just truly amazing. And that's one of those moments where you're like, I don't know where I am anymore. Space and time maybe don't mean anything anymore. I'm not sure, but it's just I've heard some people describe it as a religious experience, and it truly is incredible. So it's a ton of fun, and the second half of the ride is really where that energy picks up. So if you go in with just a little bit of extra energy, then it's already a really great ride, but it just takes it up a level.
Yeah, I remember the first two words that came to mind when the train came to that final, stop before coming back into the station after my first trimless experience on the voyage was just, holy cow, what just happened?
Yep. I still do that with a trimless night ride on voyage. I think the same words every time.
So speaking of the voyage, actually, speaking of all your wooden coasters, you had the Raven, then the Legend, then the Voyage. Then you changed things up and got Thunderbird, a steel coaster. What went into the decision to go with a steel coaster when you've been so successful with wooden coasters for so many decades?
So for me personally, fun fact, I had a fear of coasters when I was much, much younger. And the Dueling Dragons ride at Islands of Adventure is kind of what got me to go, okay, I'm going to try that one. And so B&Ms always have had a special place in my heart, and just steel coasters have always had a special place in my heart because that was the first coaster that I tried, and I went, okay, these aren't always terrifying. These are fun. But when we decided to build Thunderbird. My dad had been working on a steel coaster project on and off for, I mean, probably around a decade before he passed. And so we wanted to bring that back. And if you notice in the section of the park, there's the Willpower Building. That's a tribute to my dad. But we really wanted to do something to honor my dad. But also, I just have to say that for those of you who are familiar, my dad was an engineer and a total nerd, and so he was very involved in the layout of each of our wooden coasters. And so it's a little intimidating to think about approaching a new wooden coaster after your dad was credited as a designer on the Voyage, one of the greatest wooden coasters ever built, if not the greatest. So we decided that it was time to forge our own path for the fourth generation. And again, pay tribute to my dad. We kind of went back to his original drawings and took some inspiration from the layout. We changed the concept. It was not going to be a wing coaster, but we changed that. And then when we added the launch, we changed the direction of travel on it. But yeah, it was. It's definitely a little bit motivated by. I don't know if we can touch that legacy of my dad's wooden coasters.
Fair enough.
He was kind of the
when I
goat.
when I look at the Holiday World coaster lineup, I mean, you've hit on every roller coaster that you've added. There are no misses there. They're all among the best in their respective categories. So what do you attribute that to, that you've been able to just have such a high success rate with your coasters? And, you look around other parks and they hit on some, miss on others, and, but there, no, not at all.
I mean, my first thought is we're a small park, so we can't afford to miss. But my second thought is we really there's just not that many layers here at Holiday World. So we're reading most guest comments, most guest reviews. We see all the feedback, and so we're very in touch with what guests like and very much in touch with what they don't like as well. So I personally answered a lot of Facebook inbox messages in my day. So it's just something that, we like to stay in touch. We like to make sure that we understand where the guest is, and we want to deliver every time. We also thankfully have some great enthusiast friends. So I've got a shout out for our Vekoma family boomerang. We actually had a couple enthusiast friends that started feeding the drum of, you guys need a Vekoma. You got to check out these next gen Vekomas. They're incredible. And so slowly we kind of got on board with that and got the family, we saw what they were doing with family coasters and we knew we had to have one. And of course the boomerang is something you can commit to easily in the year after a pandemic. So that was kind of an easy choice, but yeah, we got to stay in touch with our guests. We got to know because we can't afford to miss.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, it seems like as of this recording, time is dwindling for the 2024 season to enjoy Splash and Safari. So, if somebody comes to visit, what are some of the not miss attractions at Splash and Safari that you would recommend?
I think so. We're the water coaster capital of the world. So Wildebeest is our award-winningest water park attraction. It's been the number one with the Golden Ticket Awards almost every year. Last year, the Mammoth took it. And Mammoth is the Guinness Book of World Records, world's longest water coaster. And then Cheetah Chase was the world's first launched water coaster. They're all can't miss. I think my favorites though are between Wildebeest and Mammoth, and between Wildebeest and Mammoth, that's your pick. I prefer Wildebeest because you're going straight forward the whole time. And I feel like you get a little more, I don't know, I just think it's got a little more fun over those hills. But Mammoth, you get to be in a circle facing your friends and family, and you get to watch your friends and family go backwards, or you're going backwards yourself. So that's a dealer's choice on that one, but they're both a ton of fun.
Yeah, I think your water park, it can't be missed. I'm not the biggest water park fan, but at Holiday World, I've got to experience it because everything looks, just so fun. You mentioned the 3 water coasters there, and being included with the park admission. I mean, that's just another bonus there.
Yep, 2 parks for 1 price.
Now, Holiday World, you've offered several, free amenities such as free soft drinks, sunscreen, parking. You got package pickup, the Wi-Fi, the inner tubes. So how important is it to provide these complimentary services for your guests?
I think if we ever stopped offering free and limited soft drinks, I think people would come burn the place down. But no, it's so important to us that we want to be seen as a value park. We are a high quality park, but we have a lot of value. We want to make sure that you know what you're getting into when you come to Holiday World. That's why if you visit our website, you'll see all of our food and beverage menus online, including prices. We want to be transparent. We want to help you plan your day. We don't want to feel like you're having a gotcha moment where we're um, taking something from you. We want you to be able to plan your day and know exactly what you're going to spend. But the free and limited soft drinks are truly core to Holiday World's identity at this point. I can't tell you how many people I have met from all around the country that I say, oh, I work at Holiday World, and they'll say, hey, is that park with free soft drinks? So it's an amazing recognizer for us, and of course, for some of these, parking. I don't think we ever charged for it. We just hit a day where we realized other parks charge for parking. We don't. We should really talk about that. Yeah, we've always kind of been that way. Santa Claus Land was actually totally free at first, and then they introduced charging for rides. Mostly, they said because the kids were having some knockdown, drag out fights over who got on which ride, so they had to add a little bit of order to it, and then slowly the paid park model came into play.
Touching onto the soft drinks thing again, because that's a cash cow for a lot of parks. What does it do? I mean, I understand the value, and I completely understand and sympathize with, wanting to create the value and how you
Yeah.
guys see Holiday World. But from a business standpoint, what does that do for you?
Um, so first of all, our net promoter scores are something that other parks and FECs envy. We do very, very well, and I think it's important to us because it gives people a little bit of grace. Maybe we didn't. It's very important to us to also be the cleanest park in the world, but maybe we didn't pick up a cup here or there. I just think it gives most of our guests a little bit of leeway with us, that they're willing to say, you know what, they're good people, we trust them. But I also think that you know sorry. Um, I also think that the free soft drinks, the one way to look at it is it's such a high margin item. Why would you skip out on that? And the other way to look at it is it's such a low cost to us. Why not? Um, and I think it builds such a trusting relationship with our guests that yeah, like I said, we definitely can't get rid of them, and we're definitely not trying to get rid of them. It's important to who we are.
Let's talk about the culinary experience at Holiday World. I think it's fantastic. It doesn't take a back seat to any other amusement or theme park in the industry. Um, one of my favorite dining locations is the Plymouth Rock Cafe. Love the Thanksgiving meals. I mean, you
Oh
go
yeah.
in, you get an actual Thanksgiving meal. What you would have at home there. I mean, it's
Yep.
portion sizes are great and all that. But what are some of your favorite dining locations and meals at the park?
I'm generally a fair weather fan. I generally go with whatever is newest in the park is where my favorite place to go is, because I've eaten these meals so many times in my life. So right now, my favorite is we took our barbecue location and made it a little bit more authentic barbecue. So it's Sam's Smokehouse. There's ribs, brisket. My favorite there's a smokehouse salad. It comes with a very generous sized cornbread side, and it comes with a barbecue side as well. There's corn ribs there that it's like breaded pieces of like slices of corn. It's amazing. But I also am a huge fan of the snack house up by Thunderbird. They have a lot of bowls. The mac and cheese, the hot honey mac and cheese is delicious. The Thunderbird bowl is fries with chicken tenders and bacon and ranch, and you just can't miss with that combination.
Yeah, you mentioned the ribs and the brisket at Sam's. When I was there on my last visit, I'm sitting there at the window looking at it, and I couldn't decide which one to get, so I just got both.
That's a great choice. It's so hard to pick. They're both so good.
Porque no los dos, as they say. So,
Exactly.
um, so let's talk about the rest of the season. Do you have any other events coming up? Things that you want to talk about? You want the audience to know about?
Yeah, so Kids World starts August 17th, the day after our first Friday Night Live. So the way I've described it is you gotta, if you're traveling from out of town, you got to bring a grandparent or somebody so you guys can go out, have a date night, and then bring the kids for Kids World. It's all the rides and slides of Holiday World and Splash and Safari, plus entertainment, some fun zones with percussion and bubbles, and a lot of food that's geared towards kids as well. I've got my eye on a funnel cake flight that looks incredible. Um, yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun, lots of food. Of course, Friday Night Live is going to go August 16th, 23rd, and 30th. We're trying out those Friday nights right now. And then our signature event, Happy Halloween Weekends, begins weekends mid-September through the end of October. We're going to have totally new menus for that as well, fun entertainment, and there's going to be some fun surprises still for us to reveal.
Right now, Holiday World and Splash and Safari, it's conveniently located to several major cities, making an ideal spot for a day trip or a weekend getaway. So, if you're coming from Louisville, Lexington, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Nashville, St. Louis, Columbus, Holiday World and Splash and Safari, it offers an experience that's definitely worth the trip. So, for those listening to this episode of the Trash Group podcast and they want more information, where can they find you on the internet and social media?
Visit us at holidayworld.com. That's going to be a huge resource for you to plan your trip. Check out what rides you might want to ride. Like I said, we have menus with full pricing online. We've just invested a lot in that website, so it truly is a great resource. We even have all of our restaurant hours listed. Truly, it's an amazing resource. And of course, you can find us at Holiday World on all major social media platforms.
Yeah. So, um, let me ask you a historical question. This is one I've
Sure.
been meaning to ask
Yeah.
you. So, Bluegrass Boardwalk. Were you too young for that, or do you remember what the situation was with when Holiday World attempted to purchase Kentucky Kingdom and make it Bluegrass Boardwalk? What do you remember
Uh,
memories of that?
that was relatives of mine that were kind of looking for a new venture, so I wasn't really a part of that particular project.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know, because I mean that was a long time ago, so you
Yeah.
probably weren't terribly involved. But so with Holiday World, when we talk about rides like, is it the Firecracker that you guys purchased and
Yep.
revamped and
The
everything?
Calypso. Yep.
Yeah. So can you talk about that? I remember it was a big deal when it happened. Bringing in old rides and revamping them, and because sometimes you can't get these classics anymore. But what was the
Yeah.
thought process behind that?
That was a ride that we had kind of had our eyes on for a while. We had heard about it, and we went out to go check it out, and it just kind of turned into a passion project for a lot of our team. Having that vintage Calypso was truly, it's a fun ride. We wanted to have it, but it was also a cool way for us to be able to showcase some of the talents of our team. So our maintenance team is incredibly talented. Our paint shop is incredibly talented. And so we loved that we were going to have the ability to let these teams show really what they're made of, and truly the product is outstanding. I'm still so proud every time I look at that. From the custom lights on there, that was done by members of our team who have some automotive experience. The paint, everything, just the way that our team pulled together to do that, I still am in awe of it.
And Leah, let me ask you this: you were born into, the industry, fourth generation owner. At what age did you realize that it was going to be a theme park life for you?
Ooh, well, I mean, I feel like when I was really young, there was kind of that aha moment of, oh my gosh, my dad is actually the president of this place. That's really cool. But I think it was not to get a little too sappy on you, but when my dad passed away, I just really felt like I had already been kind of leaning in that direction. I was doing an internship at the park. It was my freshman year of college, going into my sophomore year of college. And so I just really felt that pull of like, this is where I need to be. This is my home. And the people who work here are my people. And I just felt like this is my calling. And at one point I started looking at other places. I went and got my master's degree, and I started thinking, well, maybe I should at least entertain going somewhere else. And truly the moment that I cemented it was when I started looking at applications for other jobs, and I just thought, you only do one thing at other places. We're such a small business that you do so much of everything. That just kind of blew my mind to think like, oh, if you apply to be an analyst, you are just an analyst, or if you apply to be in communications, you are just in communications. There's not a lot of cross training there. So yeah, I realized that this is where I want to be. This is where I want to have my cross training, and this is where I want to braid pizza crusts on a day where we're low on staffing, and this is where I want to run the rides.
So, Leah, you originally, Santa Claus Land and then Holiday World. Have you guys ever considered doing a Christmas event, kind of like Winterfest or Holiday Fest or anything? Because I imagine for about a third of the park, the decorating cost wouldn't be that bad because you have that in the bag in the front of the park.
Sure, sure. We would be irresponsible if we didn't talk about it every now and then. So every few years we'll start talking about something. And actually, a couple of years ago, we tried a concept for an all-you-can-eat buffet at St. Mary Marketplace, because we were talking with the town and the Visitors Bureau. And so the town of Santa Claus actually has plenty to do during Christmas. They have a craft fair. We've got the Festival of Lights. The campground next door turns into a drive-through light show. So there's plenty of stuff to do here. And so we talked to the Visitors Bureau, and we said, what do you guys need? And they said, it's kind of disappointing that people have to go out of the county to go get food because, all the fast food is in the next county over. They said it would be really cool if we could have Holiday World. You have a ton of restaurants there. If we could have some food available for people. And the buffet went well, but we had 2 nights. One went super well, and one only went kind of well. So we just kind of decided that's kind of our team's downtime. So we want to be very, very careful about the way we approach that. Right now, our full-time team gets a 2-week break around the holidays. And so we want to be very careful about messing with our team's personal time. We know this is a demanding job, so we don't want to mess with that unless there's a really, really good reason.
Yeah, Leah, one of the things that caught my attention, I go back to my career. I had 18 years working in professional hockey, 17 years working in the amusement industry. You get to see a lot of, and work for a lot of different places, but you get to see, different teams are comprised, how people get along, the collaborations and things like that. And, just blown away with just the culture that you have there. You can tell by listening to your podcast, how everybody just loves being together, and collaborating with each other. You see that out in the park, whether it's the rides, associate people working in the restaurants, the shops. Everybody just seems to really love what they're doing and love the people they're working with. So, what do you attribute that culture to? Because it's definitely not everywhere.
I think my dad set a really great example, so we were lucky to have that. But I would love to say that it's something that we do. Truly, I think the most important thing that management can do is put your employees first. Your employees, when they're put first, they'll put your guests first. But I also just think that um, our directors do such a good job of looking out for the front line. They're always looking out for who's out there. They're always on a hot day bringing out popsicles and different things. We're looking out for that frontline staff, and I think that's what builds that camaraderie. And I also think that it's fun to get your hands dirty. So, right now we're going into those days of the year where our staffing's going to get lower. We're still going to be able to offer a very strong product, but our staffing's going to get lower. So you're going to see a lot more of our full-time members outrunning rides, like I said, braiding pizza crusts, just lending a hand wherever we can. And I think that just builds such a sense of community. Nobody is too important for any job. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we appreciate just one last question, Leah, because I know that your personal life's getting a little chaotic, but
Can you hear?
no, not at all. So,
Okay.
but you mentioned your father, Will, and the example that he set. Obviously when he passed away very unexpectedly, and everybody that knew you and your sister and your grandmother and so on, but we really all felt for you. But was there ever a moment after that when it was kind of like, we don't know what direction to take Holiday World, or was it more like full steam ahead in honor of Will? Like, what was the thought process early on with that?
I would say that I think we were full steam ahead, everything in honor of my dad. He had left us kind of a great legacy and a great plan. And we've executed a lot of that already. Um, I've talked about this in other interviews, so I'm not too nervous to talk about it. But we've talked. One of the things that my dad still wanted to do that we haven't gotten to yet is a birthday section that would be kind of a kids section of the park. It's a dream status, so if I'm talking about it, it's still a ways away. But we have a few things like that we want to pull out. But I think when we started to run out of the projects that he had, and when we started to do kind of our own thing, so like Thunderbird, we put our own spin on that, but that was absolutely all in tribute to him. After that, I think was when we started to kind of go, what do we do next? How often do we do that? And plenty of our team had worked with my dad for years, so they kind of knew. But my dad just kind of, he was so brilliant that he didn't really share everything that he had in his mind. So we've kind of rebuilt the map now, and we definitely feel like we've got a great direction, and we know exactly what we're doing now. But I will say, there were a couple of years where we just weren't quite sure what the next move should be. But we're in great shape now. And I'm so proud of our team and the way that we work together, and we pull our new attractions together, and everything that we're doing is built through collaboration, and I think it shows.
Very nice. Cool. Well, Leah, we really appreciate. Thank you for the second time on the show. Don and I were talking about it. Your second time on the show, third time Holiday World's been represented on the show, but you guys are always a pleasure to work with. You have such a
Our
wonderful
pleasure.
heart.
Well, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Santa Claus, Indiana, Louisville, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, that whole swath of the Corn Belt there. You should be at Holiday World right now, right?
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. All right,
Thank you.
everybody. Stick around. We got the pick six coming up next.